What is going on, guys? I am here today in the garage. If you watched the last videos, we got all the parts off the Power Wagon and then we took all the rust off of them. So today, what are we gonna do today? Bondo. Choo! I know, cool intro, right? Well, that was $25, so make sure to like and subscribe so maybe one day YouTube will give me enough pennies to pay that off. But for today, Bondo on all of these holes here. Okay, so we have our Bondo here. As you can see, there goes the cap. It is a two-part solution. So you have your actual Bondo glass, and then you have the cream hardener, which means we're going to have to mix in the Bondo glass and the cream hardener on some sort of non-porous mixing board. I sell a bunch of these online. So first step we got to do here is just open up the lid of the Bondo. Okay. And you can see it's kind of like a greenish, blackish color. And then this is the drywall mixing scoop. I'm just going to pull some of it out and put it on the mixing board here. Okay, so we have our Bondo on our mixing board here, and you know it smells bad. I can smell it through my P100 organic vapor mask. But now we're going to take our cream hardener, which actually smells worse, and if we have, it's just about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch thick. I learned that all you need to do for the proportions of the cream hardener, if you have a relatively circle, is just take a stream like that across, just like that, and the clock is now ticking. We have about 20 minutes to do this. So then I'm going to take one of my mixers here, and I'm going to go ahead and just start to mix it in, the hardener, like this. And you want to make sure you're not putting too many air bubbles in. So you want to continually keep scraping it across, like this. And you can see it's pretty messy, so you try to keep it all on your mixing board. And you want to mix until you have one solid color and you can't see the hardener or the Bondo as two different parts anymore. Okay, so there we go. We have all the hardener mixed actually into the Bondo. So you want to bring your tray of Bondo down to where you're working. And right here you can see I already put a little bit of primer on, but you don't need to do that. I just did that because there's a rusted bar underneath here that I'm not going to be able to get. And then you're just simply going to grab your scraper, get some Bondo. You already can tell it's starting to harden. And just like that, you want to put it on. Okay, so it's starting to actually dry already, so I'm just going to go ahead and stop, and I'm going to leave it on here for now. And we're going to come back in 30 minutes once it's dry, and you can see it's not really perfect, but we're going to end up sanding a lot of this off anyway, so this is really just our rough coat, and then we're going to come back with regular Bondo body filler, which doesn't have the real strength fiberglass in it, and then we're going to do some more over this. While we wait for that to dry, I want to address the bigger holes here. So this is where we're actually going to mount the fender with these 4 bolts. But since there was a plate right here, it's actually rusted all the way through. Right there, right there, right there, and right there. So we're going to take these Bondo self-adhesive patches, right? And you just cut them to shape with some tin strips, the like little aluminum pieces. And they're supposed to be self-adhesive. The adhesive doesn't work at all. So we're just going to end up duct taping these down. I mean, it kind of sticks, but not enough. And then you just put it right over the hole, and since it's on the bottom side, you're not going to see it. So that will just kind of be like a backing for the Bondo. We have them all duct taped now, temporarily. We're going to take out the duct tape once we're done. Look on the flip side here, and you can see all the holes where it was rusted out now have the aluminum mesh backing behind it, so the Bondo will have something to be backed up by.
how to get all this stuff off your scraper. Let it harden on here. Give it a good crack. Peels right off. Same thing on the other side. Okay, let's go check on our fenders. So on the fenders, it's all hardened up now. Took overnight, but that's because on this one I didn't use enough Bondo hardener. And on this one I used a little bit too much. Over here I did it too late. This one's okay, and the headlights are okay. So now we're gonna sand all of this off, and we'll see kind of what we're left with. And then we're probably gonna end up doing some of just the regular body filler instead of the super intense fiberglass stuff.
Okay, so since this is fiberglass, you need to be wearing a mask, goggles, gloves, long sleeves, pants, and everything. So get all this on. You want to make sure it all has a tight seal. And I'm going to be using 36 grit 3M sandpaper just by hand at first and see how well that works. That's pretty intense, and I don't have anything more intense than this. So we'll see kind of what it does here.
The Bondo glass is on. We have sanded that. Even the spots where we put the metal behind it, I put the Bondo glass on. I sanded that off, and now it's all pretty smooth. But the next step is we have to use some of this body filler, which obviously comes in a bigger container because we're going to use a lot more of it. So we're going to use this basically to go back over everywhere we just put Bondo, so we're able to smooth it out a lot. Those birds are really loud. Okay, so let's open this up. Mask on.
So this stuff has more of like a white color, and you don't have to mix this or anything. And you can see it's a little more workable than the last stuff. So what we're going to do, we already cleaned this off pretty good. Mixing board. Go ahead and pour a good little circle on here. And then we're going to take our hardener. And we're just going to run it almost all the way across the circle in a bead like that. We'll take our spreader here and work it in. Okay, so now we mixed this together enough where the hardener and the actual Bondo are one uniform color, so now we're ready to use this. Bring it over to our fenders. I already cleaned this all off and sanded it down. And put it on top of where we had our Bondo before here. And you can see it looks a lot more workable. And it starts to harden pretty fast if you use the right amount of hardener, so I think we're about done here with the work time. So now we're going to give it 15-20 minutes to dry, and then we're going to go ahead and sand it.
A fun little tip for covering back up these cans is take some saran wrap and put it over it, and then put the lid back on so the two don't get stuck together, as this stuff does bind to metal really easily. It has been the recommended 20 to 30 minutes, so now we're going to go ahead and sand these. And instead of using the aggressive 36 grit, I made this little DIY sanding block just on a 2x4, some 80 grit, so we can really sand this evenly. Since we're getting closer to our final product here, we want to make sure that we're kind of getting this nice and level and even.
Oh no, the camera just fell over on him. It was a whole ladder. I put my camera on the ladder. Anyways, I got these all sanded. Looking pretty good. I used a finer and finer grit as I went to feather the edges, but we still have some minor imperfections, as you guys can see on these. So instead of doing Bondo again for like the 4th time, I'm gonna go ahead and use some of this spot putty, which is unfortunately still 2 parts, so I still have to mix it. But that should make it a little bit easier to fill in some of those minor holes, and then we're gonna be able to paint it.
Okay, so I got it all mixed up here. So now I'm just finding any of these little pinholes, and I'm just gonna cover them up. And this stuff kind of has like the consistency of paint, so it's really easy to work with.
Spot putty on now, covering up all our little tiny holes. We're gonna sand it with 200 grit, and let's see how that looks. Where'd they go? Over here. Look how beautiful those things are looking. Fine looking. Okay, last round of Bondo. Just kidding, it's primer. Let's put it on. First, we need to wipe these down with some water. It says to use warm soapy water to get off all the grease and grime, but saying I've been sanding these for around 3 days straight, I don't think there is any grease or grime on them. While we wait the recommended 45 seconds for those to dry, I went ahead and ordered these from smelling worst to smelling least. Out of 10, which is death, I'd give this one a 9, I'd give this one an 8, and I'd give this one a 7. So let's go figure out how bad this stuff smells. Okay. On our scale, 1 to 10, 10 being death, I give this a 5. Not as bad. Dun dun dun! That is enough Bondo fumes for me for the weekend, but these turned out absolutely beautiful and I love them. I definitely recommend doing Bondo if you do it yourself. You guys can see these rust holes are just completely gone now. The headlights even look great. These were completely rusted out before, as you guys saw. Now they're looking fabulous. So if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe, because we're having a bunch more videos coming out. Next one, probably actually going to get the Power Wagon running. And if you haven't seen the videos before this, go check those out. But for now, go smell some Bondo, and goodbye.